Alex Merced presents The Business Cycle. What is the business cycle? The business cycle is just the ups and downs in economic activity. What are the parts of the business cycle? The business cycle has several parts, such as the expansion when the economy is increasing or growing, the peak when it stops growing, the recession when it starts shrinking, and the trough when it stops shrinking. One thing that will affect what people see as a solution to the business cycle is whether they see what causes the business cycle as endogenous or exogenous. Endogenous being something internal that might need us to tweak and repair versus something that's exogenous from the outside that just kind of needs us to kind of protect us from that outside thing and not change anything fundamentally within. The Keynesian theory of the business cycle. The problem in Keynesian theory, as far as what causes the downturn, what causes the bust, is some sort of event or something has caused people to be sort of pessimistic. Their animal spirits has caused them to spend less than justified, that there's a drop in aggregate demand. The solution is to turn that frown upside down and turn around that pessimism, either by lowering interest rates to get people to consume more, or if you can't push interest rates down any further and you've hit the zero bound, it's time to continue with fiscal stimulus, aka government spending. Irving Fisher and the debt deflation theory of the business cycle. Within this theory, the idea is that prices are falling, so businesses are not making as much money off their sales, so they can pay their debts. So it becomes harder and harder to pay the debts, which means people default in the debts, which means prices keep falling, which means more debts keep defaulting, and it becomes a sort of reinforcing cycle that needs to be stopped. The solution? Use government policy and power to prevent prices from deflating. This was a lot of the policy coming out of the Great Depression through the New Deal, oftentimes because of Irving Fisher's advice, whether to keep food prices from going down, other prices going down, when nobody could afford food in the first place. The monetarist theory of the business cycle. In monetarist theory, we take a look at the equation of exchange, which is the idea that economic output equals the amount of money there is in the economy and the velocity, meaning how quickly that money gets spent. So what may happen is that the money supply shrinks, which means GDP is not going to be as big, or the velocity shrinks. The solution to a downturn in the monetarist theory is to make sure that the growth rate of the money supply is constant. So if it slows down the rate of growth, you need to pick it back up. Real business cycle theory. The idea with real business cycle theory is just that when the economy goes through a slump or a downturn, it's just the economy adjusting to new normals because of new technologies, globalization, and other things about the changing world. The solution is just to leave it alone. You don't need to fix it, it's fixing itself. But you can help with policies that help push the change along, whether it's policies that allow to facilitate the structural changes that happen instead of sort of straight on interference. The Austrian theory of the business cycle. In this theory, an artificial increase in the money supply causes rates to be artificially low. This leads to a lot of malinvestment that at first appears as a boom but leads to a bust. The basic idea is, think of interest rates as one of many different price signals in the economy. If you tamper with the signals, people make decisions that in the long run turn out not to be the decisions they would have wanted to make, causing problems in the long run. The solution is to just not interfere in the economy. When the bust happens, it's the economy fixing itself. It's all those investments that were overvalued or just not well thought out will get liquidated and change hands to people who can put them to better use. And the economy can then rebuild on a much stronger foundation. Other considerations when thinking about the different business cycle theories. Cycle uniformity. Does any theory of the business cycle really explain every historical boom or bust? Or are all of these just unique situations? Economists like Joseph Schumpeter theorized that there were different types of business cycles that happened on different time lengths. So there's a lot of robust thinking in business cycle theory that one must consider. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you saw and want to learn more economics, head over to learneconomicsnow.com where you can learn so much more. And of course, make sure to check out my website, sign up for my newsletter, and follow me on social media over there at alexmerced.com.